Imagine standing alone on an abandoned train platform at exactly 2:13 a.m. No lights, no people, no sound. The railway had been closed for over 40 years. No train had passed through it since 1981. Then, out of nowhere, a train arrived. Its headlights pierced through the thick winter fog. Its rusty wheels screamed against the frozen tracks. The doors slowly opened. But there was one terrifying problem. There was no driver inside. 3 people stepped onto that train. None of them were ever seen again. This is the mystery of the Phantom Train. Deep in the mountains of Montana, hidden beneath endless forests, stood Black Pine Station, a railway station forgotten by time. Dust covered every bench. Broken windows rattled in the freezing wind. Old warning signs still hung from rusted poles. Do not cross the tracks. Nature had slowly reclaimed everything. Trees grew between the rails. Grass pushed through cracked concrete. According to official records, the station had permanently closed in 1981. No train was scheduled to stop there, ever again. But local residents told a different story. They believed every 25 years, on the coldest night of winter, at exactly 2:13 a.m., a train appeared from the fog. It never sounded its horn, it never stopped for long, and no one knew where it came from or where it disappeared. Most people laughed at the legend, until 3 university students decided to find out the truth. December 18th, 2006, 3 friends, Daniel, Sarah, and Ethan, packed cameras, flashlights, and enough supplies for one night. Their plan was simple: spend the night at Black Pine Station, record everything, and prove the ghost train was nothing more than an old myth. As midnight approached, the temperature dropped below freezing. Their cameras continued recording. Hours passed. Nothing happened. Daniel smiled. I guess the legend was fake. Then, at exactly 2:13 a.m., every camera battery instantly dropped to zero. The wind stopped. The forest became completely silent, and from somewhere deep inside the fog, they heard it. The sound of a train whistle. The sound echoed through the frozen mountains, long, deep, and impossibly close. Daniel grabbed his flashlight. Its beam flickered. Then, it went completely dark. Sarah looked toward the tracks. I can see something. At first, it looked like a single light, then another, and another. Slowly, a massive train emerged from the thick fog. Old steel wheels scraped against the frozen rails. Its black body was covered in rust. Every window glowed with a dim yellow light. Yet, there wasn't a single sound from inside. No passengers, no voices, only silence. The train stopped directly in front of them. Its doors slowly opened. Hiss. Warm air escaped into the freezing night. Daniel stepped closer. Should we go inside? Sarah shook her head. This isn't right. But Ethan, curious as ever, walked through the open door. Daniel quickly followed him. Sarah hesitated, then entered too. The doors closed behind them, without anyone touching them. The inside looked brand new. Soft red seats, golden lights, perfectly polished floors. It made no sense. Outside, the train looked over 100 years old. Inside, it looked as if it had just left the factory. There was only one strange detail. Every clock inside the train showed exactly 2:13 a.m. None of them moved. Time had stopped. As the 3 friends slowly walked through the first carriage, Daniel suddenly froze. Someone was sitting near the last window. An elderly man, wearing an old railway conductor's uniform. His face looked pale. His hands rested quietly on a wooden cane. Daniel carefully asked, "Excuse me, where is this train going?" The old man slowly raised his head. His eyes were completely black. Without blinking, he whispered, "To the place where forgotten people go." The lights instantly went out. Darkness filled the entire train. Sarah quickly turned on her camera. Surprisingly, it still worked. The small screen showed something impossible. The train wasn't standing at Black Pine Station anymore. Outside the windows, there were no mountains, no trees, no snow, only endless darkness, stretching forever. Then, one by one, shadowy figures appeared outside the train, standing silently, watching. None of them moved. None of them had faces, and slowly, every one of them turned toward the window. Daniel stepped back. His heart pounded so hard he could barely breathe. The shadow figures outside the train didn't have faces. They simply stood there, watching. Then,
all at once, they lifted one arm and pointed toward the last carriage. The old conductor quietly whispered, "You don't have much time." A metal sign hung above the final door. It shouldn't have existed. The train only had 12 carriages, yet there it was. The door slowly opened by itself. Inside, thousands of old suitcases were stacked from floor to ceiling. Each suitcase carried a name, a date, and a photograph. Sarah picked one up. The label read, "Daniel Brooks, December 18th, 2006. Today's date. She slowly looked at Daniel. Neither of them spoke. Then Ethan shouted from the other side of the room, "You need to see this!" At the end of the carriage, a giant wooden wall stretched from floor to ceiling, covered with photographs, hundreds, maybe thousands of missing people. Every person who had disappeared around Black Pine Station was there. Then Daniel noticed one empty frame. Below it, a brass plate had already been engraved. Daniel Brooks, Sarah Miller, Ethan Cole. The date was today. Suddenly, the train began moving, faster and faster. Outside, the endless darkness slowly transformed into thick white fog. The old conductor stood beside the exit. "This is your only chance." The emergency door burst open. Freezing wind filled the carriage. Daniel grabbed Sarah's hand. "Jump!" They leaped into the darkness. Ethan hesitated, only for a second. The doors slammed shut. The phantom train disappeared into the fog, taking Ethan with it. Daniel and Sarah woke up beside the abandoned railway tracks. Morning sunlight covered Black Pine Station. There was no train, no footprints, no sign that anything had happened. Police searched for Ethan for weeks. Nothing was ever found. But Daniel's camera was still recording. When investigators reviewed the final footage, they saw Ethan standing inside the train, looking directly into the camera. He smiled, then quietly said, "I'll see you in 25 years." The screen turned black. No one has ever explained the recording, and according to local legend, the phantom train will return again on the coldest night at exactly 2:13 a.m. The end.